Welcome back to Monday, the start of a whole new week. I hope you are coming off a restful, joyous, exciting weekend where you got all the love and relaxation and excitement that you needed. And it happens to be a brand new month. We are in the month of December, this first full week of December. And December marks the holiday season. And I want to talk to you about something really specific related to the holiday season, which is like the spreading of joy and happiness and kindness during the holiday season. That's what we're going to talk about today and why that matters so much. So welcome back to the aha moments, where every day I share the lessons I've learned in my work as a psychotherapist and in my life to inspire you to live your very best life. Of course, I'm your host, Elliott Connie, and here's the big message I want to share with you today. The holiday season is such a time for joy and kindness. And we often think about that as like Christmas caroling, and we think about that as like doing these things. But I want to tell you two stories. One story and one thing from my childhood that I think exemplify what we need to do in this season, but also what we need to do going forward. Like, it doesn't have to be something we do during the holiday season. But one story happened years ago. It was a really cool thing. Somebody went to Toys R Us, and it's now happened several times, but somebody went to Toys R Us and they paid off all of the layaway. And it was like $100,000. It was like a big amount, but some person, they wanted to stay anonymous, and they walked into Toys R Us and they asked, what is the amount of toys and things on layaway? They told them the number, and they paid off everybody's layaway. I was thinking about that from the perspective of, like, a single parent or someone just working super hard to make ends meet, and someone trying to produce a Christmas for their kids, and how magical that must have been to realize that some person had done this like random act of kindness and allowed them to pull off a Christmas for their kids. Like, I was so touched and moved by that, and it made me want to do random acts of kindness more. And not for attention, not for glory, not for anything, but I think there's nothing more beautiful in the world than random acts of kindness. And I think Christmas is when those things are kind of at a peak. I think the greatest thing is when you can do someone for someone that has no ability to thank you. And that's why I was so touched by that example. That's why I was so touched by that person, whoever that was. I still don't know who it was. It was the first time it had happened, and in subsequent Christmases, there have been news stories where a similar thing has happened. But the one thing that I want you to pay attention to during this Christmas season is random acts of kindness, and allow that to inspire you to not just be randomly kind during the Christmas season, be randomly kind going forward. And then the other thing is the importance of traditions. Christmas is a time where we get to realize the importance of tradition. Our kids and our work lives, like, everything slows down, and we just get to focus on the traditions that we have in our lives. And, lots of different families and people have lots of different traditions. And I don't think any one tradition is any more important or effective than another. But I do think just having a tradition where it's like, during the Christmas season, we make these meals. Like, one of my favorite things about one of my best friends, his name is Adam. You guys have heard me talk about him on the podcast before. But his family has a food tradition. His wife is an excellent cook, and every Christmas she makes a very specific meal, something called funeral potatoes, a ham, and just like these things that Adam really loves. And he gets really excited about this tradition. He gets really excited about this meal throughout the entire year. Like, sometimes randomly through the year, we joke about how much he's looking forward to the ham that he's going to have on Christmas. And it might be June when we're having these jokes, or it might be, March when we're having these jokes. But these traditions matter and mean something to us. And I think Christmas is a great time to remember the traditions that we have in our lives and enjoy them. And I also think it's important to recognize we should engage and interact with our traditions more often than just once a year. So those are two things that I think are how we spread joy and kindness and love in this world. And I want to inspire you and encourage you to do that. So notice the random act of kindness, because they spike during this Christmas season. But make a commitment to continue to do that, because it's one of the only ways we can make this world a better place. And also pay attention to the traditions you have in your life and how you can benefit from those traditions at other times in your life, not just during the Christmas season. So welcome to a new week, welcome to a new month, welcome to this holiday month. I hope it's a wonderful one for you as well. So thank you so much for being here. Please share this podcast on your social media platforms. Help me reach more people. There's no way I can do that without your help and support, which I very much appreciate. So please help me by hitting that share button and sharing it on your social media platforms, or even sharing this podcast with one person that you think could benefit from hearing this message today. And don't forget, you can become a subscriber. You can do that if you haven't already by hitting the subscribe button on your favorite podcasting place, Apple, Spotify, Simplecast, or wherever you enjoy listening podcasts. You can even become a VIP listener by subscribing on Patreon and get access to bonus episodes each and every week, and also get access to transcriptions from each and every episode. Thanks so much for being here, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Love y'all. Here we are. We are in early December, and this always makes me think of Christmas and the holiday season. The different things that come up for us during Christmas and the holiday season, like the different experiences of gratitude and gratefulness and doing things for other people and trying to make people happy. And it has me thinking about times in my life where somebody did something for me that made me feel special and made me feel attended to. And I think that's what this whole season is about. So I want to share a moment from my life that was so touching and made me feel really special, and hopefully inspire you to do more of that in your life. So welcome back to the Aha Moments, where every day I share the lessons I've learned in my work as a psychotherapist and in my life to inspire you to live your very best life. Of course, I'm your host, Elliott Connie. And, I think about my childhood and I think about times in the past. And I remember being a kid, just like every other kid, like wanting the such and such thing as a Christmas gift. Like I remember one year I wanted a video game so bad for Christmas, and we had a Christmas tree and toys underneath it that were wrapped, and there was an item that was about the size of like a video game box, and I knew that was the game, and I tore it open a little bit. It was a game called Tecmo Baseball, those of you who are old enough to remember and sports fans. And I remember really wanting that game, and I got it. And I remember other moments like that where there were these like big things. I think sometimes we think about like moments in our life that might have had an impact, and we think about big things. But that's not what stands out to me. What stands out to me are the small things. Like the things that have been the most impactful in my life, believe it or not, are those really small moments where someone did something special for you and just like acknowledged you. Like I remember this was during the Christmas season, and I was hanging out. So in Franklin, Massachusetts, where I grew up, where I went to high school, there was this thing we called a mall, but it was really like a strip mall, like a shopping plaza. And it's where all of us teenagers hung out, right? It was just the place that the teenagers went and hung out. And me and some friends went to go see a movie. And there was a pizza place called Papa Gino's, which those of you from New England know, Papa Gino's is like the staple standard New England food. So we went to Papa Gino's, and then we went to a movie. But while we were at Papa Gino's, I happened to mention to someone that I didn't expect to get anything for Christmas that year because of money reasons, and finances were super tight. And somebody overheard me saying that. One of the friends in the group, a girl named Alana, she was the older sister of one of my close friends. His name was Al. And she overheard me saying that I didn't expect to get anything for Christmas because of financial reasons. So we leave the pizza place and we go watch the movie. And when we come out of the movie, Alana and one of the other girls are gone. We're just kind of hanging out, doing what teenagers do, hanging out at the theater. And then Alana and the girl come back, and she's carrying a bag. And she hands me the bag and says, this gift is for you because you are such a nice person, you deserve a gift. And in the bag was a Michael Jordan t-shirt. Michael Jordan t-shirt probably costs like $20. And, to a 15-year-old girl and a 14, 13-year-old kid, like $20 is $1 million. But I never forgot that moment. Because it was just this little small thing that this person did to make me feel special. It's this little tiny thing that someone did to just make me feel important, to make me feel acknowledged, make me feel seen. I think the best thing we can do for people is to make them feel valuable. And the way to do that is to allow them to feel heard and allow them to feel seen. That's what matters here. Like, spend this Christmas time allowing people to feel heard and allowing people to feel seen. I don't really remember. I remember the t-shirt was black. I don't really remember the image on the t-shirt. But I never forgot Alana doing that. I never forgot that moment. Because I knew in that moment she had heard my story and I felt seen by her. And that matters. So to me, that's what the Christmas season is all about. Little moments where you allow people to feel seen and heard. You know, the gift is one thing. She could have bought me a $20 t-shirt. She could have bought me $1 million thing, or she could have literally just come and hugged me. It would have had the same impact. Like, it's such a special moment that I remember from my life. And it stands out amongst all the turmoil that I was going through. So spend a moment thinking about, what did somebody do for you during the holiday season that had an impact on your life that you still remember now? What's a moment that stands out where somebody did something kind to allow you to feel seen and heard that still stands out to you now? I hope this story touched you. I hope it meant something to you. If it did, please hit that share button and share this podcast on your social media platforms, or even with one person that you think could benefit from hearing this message today. And don't forget to become a subscriber. You can do that anywhere you enjoy listening to podcasts: Apple, Spotify, Simplecast. You can become a VIP listener on Patreon, where you get bonus episodes and transcriptions from each episode. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Many people think of Christmas time as a time of getting gifts and a time of joy and those sorts of things. But for me, Christmas is actually a time of giving, because I actually enjoy giving far more than I do receiving. I am impacted by the act of giving far more than I am impacted by the act of receiving. Last year, I did something during Christmas time, and I think we're going to do it again this year, but last year, I did something during the Christmas season to demonstrate the power of a really, really simple thing. And it had a huge impact on me. It had a huge impact on the people I was demonstrating on. And I want to share that with you today. So welcome back to the Aha Moments, where every day I share the lessons I've learned in my work as a psychotherapist and in my life to inspire you to live your very best life. Of course, I'm your host, Elliott Connie. So last year, I wanted to prove that the greatest thing you can do to make a difference in someone's life, the easiest and most simple way that you can do something to bring joy to another person, is to simply help them smile. So my cameraman and I went to a really popular place. What I mean by popular place, like a place that had a lot of people in it congregated and living here in Texas. Texas isn't New York City or something like that. So there's not a lot of congestion. And we went to this place where there was a lot of foot traffic, a lot of people kind of mulling around Christmas shopping. And we stopped people and simply asked them a very simple question that I believed would provoke a smile. And what I asked them was, tell me about your best Christmas memory. And some of these people, they were walking around really stressed, really focused, carrying bags. And I said, hi, my name's Elliott Connie, and here's what I'm doing. Can I just stop you and ask you one question? And 100% of the people, I'd ask them that one question, and 100% of the people smiled and told beautiful stories. This one person talked about growing up in Russia and what Christmas was like for them. And people just shared these amazing stories about something positive that they thought about Christmas. I think sometimes we think in order to give joy, we got to buy like really expensive gifts. We got to get everything that our kids put on their Christmas lists, and we have to do all this crazy stuff. But really, in order to spread joy, in order to make joy impactful, in order to make a huge difference in someone's life, you just have to do something really simple, like simply ask them to tell me about a really positive time in your life. Tell me about your best Christmas memory. Now, one of the things that holds us back is we think, what if I ask someone that and they just have no positive Christmas memories? I want you to remember that even someone who has a very difficult past and background, there's always a moment of smile. The fact that they are of age and talking to you is evidence that at some point there was a smile. At some point there was a positive interaction. At some point there was a touching moment. And I want you to ask people to talk about good things,
I want you to ask people to talk about positive things. I want you to ask people to talk about the parts of their life that stand out in a really uplifting, nice way. I think too often we focus on the negative. By the way, one of my favorite things about Christmas is it causes us to focus on positive things. But I think too often we focus on negative things and we focus on our flaws and our deficits and our problems when we really need to focus on our gifts and our joys and what has given us life and why life is so beautiful and so surreal and so worth living. And the easiest way to remind people of that is to simply ask them questions that are very likely to produce a smile. Asking people about their best Christmas memory, asking people about the most favorite thing they've ever given or received, asking people about times in their life when they have been touched. It produces a smile. And it doesn't cost anything. You don't have to order it on Amazon. You don't have to worry about will it be delivered. Just engaging with people in a way that helps smiles happen is how you bring joy into people's lives. And that should be the focus, not just in Christmas season, but in all seasons. Like that should be the focus of what we do at all times. That should be the driving force in our lives to help us make the very, very best of our time on this earth. We were here to do good for others. So talk to strangers like this, talk to loved ones like this, talk to friends like this. It makes the hugest difference in their world. So I want you to make a plan to make a difference in someone's life. And over the next week, I want you to do it at least once for a total stranger, like a server in a restaurant, a cashier in a store, someone you just bumped into. And I want you to do this for someone in your loved circle as well. So thanks for being here, guys. I really, really love you for your support. Thank you for showing me that. If you could please share this podcast on your social media platforms by hitting that share button, or even share it with one person in your life that you think could benefit from hearing this message today. It would mean the world to me. And also become a subscriber if you haven't done so already. You can do that at any place where you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Simplecast, Black Effect. Any of those places would be wonderful. You can also become a VIP listener by subscribing on Patreon, and you'll get access to bonus episodes and also transcription from each and every episode. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow. We're living in new and different times. We live in a strange era. Like, when I think back to what my youth was like, it was just so different. And most of that is because of technology and social media. Like, everything we do is documented. Everything we do is videoed. Everything we do is public. And sometimes when you do positive things, when you do kind things, when you do generous things, people question the authenticity with which you did it. People think you're doing it for clout. There's this term called clout chasing. And I think it makes anonymous contributions really, really valuable. And I want to talk about anonymous contributions and how you can make them this Christmas season. So welcome back to the Aha Moments, where every day I share the lessons I've learned in my work as a psychotherapist and in my life to inspire you to live your very best life. Of course, I'm your host, Elliott Connie. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. When I was at the beginning of my counseling career, I worked at an agency in Fort Worth, Texas. It was a community mental health agency, and I had a job as a caseworker. I remember the first year I did that job, we were coming up on the Christmas season, and people would donate money to this agency, and most of the clients that we served at this agency were very, very low from a socioeconomic standpoint, like way below the poverty line. So organizations would donate money to the agency I worked at, and we would go to these toy drives. We would go to this food bank, and we would get turkeys, and we would get stuff so that people could provide their families with a kind of robust Christmas meal. And we would go to these toy drives, and we get these toys, and we would put them in our cars, and we would drive to the families' homes to give cars. And the first year I did this, there's also a kind of a side story on how me and my best friend, who is also African-American, were putting our toys in the car. His name is Matt. And someone in an office building was watching us load these cars with toys, and they called the police saying that we were like breaking into his car. But anyway, it's another story. But first we did this, Matthew and I were really excited. We worked at the same agency, by the way. We were really excited about being able to deliver toys to these people and helping them have a positive Christmas. It wasn't very long that I realized, like, it's a real hard thing for people to accept gifts in those ways. Like, we would go to people's homes, and I remember talking to some of the moms and some of the dads as we delivered these things and just how hard it was to accept help. Like there's a bit of shame and guilt associated with like, I'm not doing well. And in fact, I'm not doing so well that I can't provide a Christmas to my children on my own. That just stuck with me. I just remembered how hard it was for some of the people we were serving to accept the gifts that we were delivering. I started thinking about anonymously helping people because in that way we couldn't. Like I was walking up to your front door, knocking on your door and delivering the gift. So it was the exact opposite of anonymous. Like they had to face me and face that difficulty and that shame and that guilt and that embarrassment. And that just kind of stuck with me. And years later, after I'd, moved on and I had become a psychotherapist, I was in business for myself. I was walking around a mall and there was a big old Christmas tree at this mall. And the Christmas tree had a bunch of like envelopes. And if you plucked an envelope off the tree, you opened it, there was a family and information about a family. So it'd say like the Smith family, and it would say like husband, wife, and 3 kids. And it would have a little bit of information about what they wanted. And what you would do is you would go to the store and you would buy things that this family wanted and or needed for Christmas. And then you would send it to their home or to an address specified in this envelope anonymously. And I just thought that was so cool because whoever this family was, they qualified for needing help by whoever it was who put up the Christmas tree, but they didn't have to deal with the shame and the embarrassment really of kind of acknowledging publicly that you needed help. And I've always been interested in ways to anonymously help people. Like there's all kinds of things you can do. I talked earlier in the podcast about somebody who had gone to a store, just paid off everybody's layaway and didn't leave their name. So try to think of ways that you can just do kind things where your name is not attached to them. There are organizations you can donate to. There's GoFundMes that you can donate to without using your name. But once you remove your name and you make it anonymous, you also help that person receive help because they're not faced with so much shame and embarrassment. I also do want to say this. Just because someone records something happening in a positive way does not mean it's not genuine. I think one of the things we need to do is share more positive things because there's so much negative stuff on the internet. We have to share positive things to counterbalance it. There's a video of this girl who was in a restaurant with her dad and she takes a full plate of food, what looked like a steak and potato, like a full plate of food. And she asked her dad, can I give it to that person? And she had looked through the window and saw a homeless person on the street. And she handed the homeless person a plate and he ate the food. And if you read the comments on this video on social media, people are like, you shouldn't record it. And I think, why? Like, we need to see that stuff. If you look online, you see so much negative stuff so prominently. We need to share positive things to inspire other people to do other acts of kindness. If you don't share them, you don't inspire other people to do the same. So I think it's important that we anonymously do good things so that we can make sure that people have the easiest time receiving help and make sure that people can get the things they need without some of the negative consequences associated with it. But also, try not to question the authenticity of things you see just because they're positive, because it inspires other people to do more kind things. And I hope I've inspired you to do something anonymous. So that's my challenge to you. Is this Christmas season, I want you to do one thing that is anonymous, like one kind thing that you can do and not attach your name to it. So thanks for being here today. Love you guys. If you benefited in any way from this, if you could please share this on your social media platforms, just hit the link, or you can share it with one person in your life that you think could benefit from hearing this message today. And don't forget, you can become a subscriber. You can do that anywhere you enjoy listening to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Simplecast. You can go to Black Effect. You can go to lots of places that you enjoy listening to podcasts and subscribe. You can also become a VIP listener by heading on over to Patreon and becoming a subscriber on Patreon. And then you'll get access to bonus material, including bonus episodes each and every week, as well as transcriptions from each and every episode. Thanks for being here. Love you guys. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. When you're a kid, there's nothing better than Christmas. I mean, that's the time when you're going to get gifts, toys, have fun. You don't have to go to school during the Christmas break. I mean, Christmas is the highlight of the year. I want to tell you about my favorite Christmas gift that I ever got that actually at the time was not my favorite Christmas gift and how that kind of set the tone for my personality and impacts me to this very, very day. So welcome back to the aha moments, where every day I share the lessons I've learned in my work as a psychotherapist and in my life to inspire you to live your very best life. Of course, I'm your host, Elliott Connie, and this is going to sound crazy, but when I was young, my grandmother would give me the same exact gift every Christmas. And the gift was, it's a 3-pack of boxer shorts, underwear, wrapped in Christmas paper. And every year she would hand me that gift wrapped thing, and I would hope that there was, something fun, a toy, money, anything. And every year I would open it and I would see these boxer shorts and I would be supremely disappointed. And it started when I was like 7 or 8. I was little, and she would send me underwear. Oftentimes I would spend, I was living in Massachusetts by that time, so often I would go to Chicago and spend my Christmases there, which I loved because I was around family. But even as I got older and I had my own life, like I had sports and things, so I couldn't go to Chicago for an extended period of time, she would mail me this gift. And as I became a teenager, I realized that this is my grandmother's way of showing that she loves and cares for you. Like, this is my grandmother's way. My grandmother grew up in in the 1930s in Chula, Mississippi. So this was like her way. Like, if you love and care someone, you don't give them toys, you give them more kind of stable life things like underwear. Like my grandmother would always say, like, you always have to have clean underwear. So that's the kind of stuff she would value, and she'd send it to me, and she sent it every single year, to the point where I couldn't wait to get my pack of underwear every Christmas. It made me appreciate her. It made me sentimental. It just made me something that valued and that really mattered to me. When my grandmother passed away, it was even harder because that was the first year in my whole life that I didn't get, my fresh pack of underwear that Christmas season, and I missed it. The grief hit me hard. She had passed away 4 months or so before Christmas, but the grief hit me really, really hard. And I was like, man, even now as I think about it, I was like, I got to get through this. But it impacted me because I am a very sentimental person. I am I'm someone who values rituals. I'm someone that finds those things really important. I'm someone that I experience love that way, and I show my love that way. And I think part of it is having a grandmother that would do stuff like that. Every single year, like clockwork, my grandmother would send me boxer shorts. And I think the gift I got in those packages was boxer shorts, but the actual gift was love and care and tradition. Because here I am years later, and I'm still being impacted by my grandmother's love and care and the way that she taught me to value tradition. I think that that's tremendous. I can't believe that that's the lesson I got to learn, and I can't believe it's still impacting me to this very day. But it does, and it impacts how I interact with my friends. It impacts how I interact with my family. It impacts how I view the world and how I experience the world. My grandmother gave me the gift of tradition, love, and value. And I share that because when you're going through this Christmas and you're buying gifts for your kids and for your spouses and for your loved ones, for your people you work with or whatever, I want you to remember that the gift may not actually be the gift, but it's what's behind the gift. The gift may be the thing. It's like the moments you give people. Like the boxer shorts were one thing, but the moment was something completely different. And that's what I hold on to in my heart to this day. That's what matters to me now more than ever. I'm going to live the rest of my life valuing tradition because my grandmother gave me boxer shorts for Christmas. So I want you to think about that as you go through this Christmas. Give people moments, give people value. Go ahead and give them a gift, but give it to them in a way that will impact their lives going forward. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys got something out of it. If you did, hit that share button and share this podcast on your social media platforms, or even with one person that you think could benefit from hearing this message today. And also, you can become a subscriber. You can do that wherever you enjoy listening to your podcast. Black Effect, Simplecast, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever it is. You can also become a VIP listener by subscribing on Patreon, and you get access to bonus material, including bonus episodes and transcriptions from each and every episode. Thanks so much for being here. Love you guys. See you on Monday.